government is taking a stand to encourage and promote a safe tourism month. Officials are urging South Africans to proactively participate in efforts to curb incidents of crime that are hampering tourism growth. Where are the problem areas? Let's discuss this further. We're joined by Deputy Tourism Minister Fish Mahlalela. It is World Tourism Day, celebrated globally on the 27th of September. And this year the theme is rethinking tourism. And obviously that's very necessary post-COVID. Can you tell us whether you think the local tourism department in South Africa has done enough to rethink our approach to tourism in the wake of the pandemic?
Thank you very much, Emily, and good evening to your viewers. No, we've done a substantial amount of work as the South African government. You will recall that immediately after the adoption of the Economic Reconstruction and Recovery Plan, working together with the tourism sector, we then developed a tourism sector recovery plan, which encompasses all the sectors in this, all the players in the sector, to be able to participate in the process of recovery. As we are now on the full process of implementation of that recovery plan, there is a lot of progress and opportunities that has arisen as a result of that. So we are confident that the sector is gradually recovering and is gradually going back to be even more stronger than it was before COVID-19, because we have learned a lot of lessons as a result of the COVID-19.
After the pandemic, tourists, especially international tourists, are a lot more aware of biosafety. How do you think our approach is currently in South Africa? Have we totally forgotten about COVID-19, or have those rules stayed in place to some degree?
No, we have not yet forgotten. You'll recall that as part of the first phase of the tourism recovery plan was for us to develop norms and standards in the context of the COVID-19. Those norms and standards were subsequently gazetted, and then so they became part of the norms and standards of the operation of the sector. So that is being applicable, is still in force, though there's some relaxation there and there, especially as it relates to some of the restrictions that were imposed at the time, like the issue of wearing of masks and all of those. But the safety in the context of the COVID-19 and the general safety of our visitors is given priority by all the businesses in the sector.
So, safety and security of tourists among high crime rates. Tell us about the National Tourism Safety Strategy.
In 2019, after there's been some negative publicity about the incidences that were taking place and creating an environment that of not being safe for our tourists, we subsequently developed a national tourism safety strategy, of which that strategy is anchored on 3 pillars, and those pillars are the one that we are currently using, that is proactive measures as the first pillar. And then the second pillar is to make sure that we intervene when there are issues that affect tourism safety. And then the last one pillar is the aftercare. When the incident has happened, how do you deal with it? So we have been working, for example, as a result of that, we entered into a memorandum of understanding with the South African Police Service. We're able to recruit tourism safety monitors and deployed them throughout the 9 provinces in various tourism attractions areas, and also on the border of South Africa, where tourists are entering South Africa. We have subsequently had discussion with the Department of Justice to see the extent to which how they can fast track the execution of those that have been arrested as a result of attacks of tourists, but also now there is a decision that has been taken that now even virtual it can take place even if the tourist has gone. They can still witness while they are in their own countries. And that's what some of the steps that we've taken to ensure that we create a safer environment for our tourists. But critical to all of that is working together with community safety structures, that your CPF, working together with community as a whole to take responsibility and understand the role and the importance of tourism as a key economic sector that has got the potential to create, to deal with the challenges that we're confronted with of unemployment, of poverty and inequality, because of its magnitude in terms of its ability to create jobs and also create sustainable livelihood for our people.
In addition to crime, poor infrastructure maintenance also creates safety issues and negative perceptions amongst tourists. So unsafe roads, lack of water provision, load shedding. So making South Africa a tourist mecca is going to require a vast amount of work. And often it feels like in terms of infrastructure, we're not really moving forwards.
Yes, we acknowledge the issue of access. It is very critical to our tourist attractions, because if you don't have a proper infrastructure, it becomes very difficult to access the tourism attraction, and therefore it hinders or it negatively affects the tourism sector. So we are working with on an integrated approach in the context of the district development model, working together with provinces and municipalities to make sure that as part of creating a recovery, create an environment that enables that we build proper infrastructure. We welcome, for example, the Vala Zonke that has just been launched by the Minister of Transport. And key to that is to say how, as a tourism sector, do we prioritize tourism routes so that they have become part of the key in terms of them being prioritized for this program. Of making sure that we deal with the potholes, the accessibility. But the issue of electricity, the issue of water, of sanitation by municipalities is also a matter that we continuously engage with municipalities, because without that, it will not make it easy for the industry to be able to succeed. So, but one of the issues that we're engaging upon is the program called Green Incentive Program, where we are providing grant funding for making sure that there's less consumption of water, there's less consumption of electricity, so that they are able to reduce also on the capital expenses, because those are some of the things that makes businesses not to succeed when there's a huge amount of capital expenditure.
Well, we're very lucky in South Africa that Tourism Month coincides with the beginning of our spring and summer. We hope it's going to be a bumper tourism season. That was Deputy Tourism Minister Fish Mahlalela.